Hello, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I am an addiction recovery coach and your host of this show, the Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, let me share this about substance abuse, but let me be crystal clear. I want you to have an everlasting impact. Just imagine being buried alive. Let's say you know you're in a coffin, but you know you're not dead. You don't know how to open that coffin lid and push the enormous weight that's on the lid straight up. You don't know how to get out at all. So you think, well, maybe, just maybe, if I start banging on the lid, I might unsettle the dirt that's upon the lid, and people that might be standing up there might start digging their way down to me. This is what it feels like to be at the lowest point of alcohol and drug addiction. You know you need help. You know you can't do it on your own. You just don't know where to turn for help. In reality, I guarantee you there are probably people standing there mourning your death. You just don't know that. You just think, let me keep banging and bang and bang and bang and keep banging on the lid. Crying now for someone to help you. Usually, though, people don't think about death when they're habitually abusing drugs and alcohol. In order to feed an addiction, you have to be great at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, my audience, did it ever cross your mind when you were abusing drugs and alcohol that maybe, just maybe, you might overdose and take something that was preciously given to you by the Lord Jesus, a life, your life. You will take your life away not just from you, but selfishly by abusing drugs and alcohol. You'll take your life away from your family and friends. With this, let me leave one last thought. Don't be the person in the coffin that I'm reading about, banging on the lid, pushing the lid, hoping that the dirt might unsettle, hoping that someone might even hear them and start digging their way down. Instead, be a person that if you're watching me, you still have a chance. You're breathing, you're blinking, you're seeing. You have a chance to reach out for help. I am right here. Reach for me. 844-405-HELP. Let me help you take back your life, my friend, before your life is gone. And there are other people like Larry Geis from the Geis Academy. You can reach me at 516-458-2741, 516-458-2741, www.ADDICT'S.org. Larry Geis, like myself, is an addiction recovery coach, a life coach. He will help you from your addiction to your recovery. He will help you from your depression to happier times. He will help you from low self-esteem to improving your self-esteem. But you need to reach out to him. Give him a call at 516-458-2741. Let Larry Geis from the Geis Academy help take back your life. Larry and I always tell people like you, it doesn't matter where you came from. People like me, it didn't matter where I came from. What mattered is what I'm doing today. What am I going to do today to improve tomorrow? And Larry Geis from the Geis Academy at 516-458-2741 will help set up a whole plan, a future, a better path, a fork in the road that you're at right now. He will guide you to the right direction, but you need to reach out to him. 516-458-2741. Let Larry Geis help you take back your life. Folks, GlobalEyeglasses.com has over 1,200 frames. Plastic, metal, no frame at all, full frame, and half frame. They have lenses like no line bifocal, transition, photochromatic, polarized. They have coatings like anti-reflecting coating, anti-scratch coating, and UV coating. They have the thinner lenses for you thick prescription holders, and they have shatterproof lenses for your young ones and for your elders. Folks, this is all available at a fraction of the cost of your freestanding brick-and-mortar optical store in your neighborhood. And you have the convenience of doing it all from home. And here's the best part, folks. Because I have over 30 years experience in the optometry business, when Global Eyeglasses started advertising, I told them, listen, have your customers give me a call. I will help make sure that they get the correct frames and the correct lenses And by making that phone call to 631-599-0218, you are guaranteed to get yourself free shipment. I will give you a code to use during your checkout. Go to www.globaleyeglasses.com. Let them focus on saving you money. Today's topic is an addict's wish list. Loving addicts is an exhausting thing. If you've ever had to watch as drugs physically, mentally destroy a loved one, then that statement hits home right now as you hear me. Especially if you've never personally struggled with an addiction, it's so hard for you to understand. From an outsider's perspective that you might be, addiction is a disease that literally makes no sense. As I always say, any disease makes no sense. As addicts, so many of the choices we make are destructive, and our actions generally reek of selfishness. This disease forces its victims to operate in a warped kind of survival mode that never seems to end. If you could trade places with an addicted loved one, you'd probably be swept away by the river of emotions that you encountered. To understand an addict's behavior is a step in the right direction, so it's important to try to grasp, at least on some level, what your loved one is feeling. Since mind readers only exist in the movies, a little help and insight can go a long way, especially when you're trying to get inside the mind of an addict. While we all have unique thoughts, there's a universal list of wishes and dreams that are unique to people struggling with addiction. If you could take a peek inside the mind of a loved one and discover a list of things we privately wish we could share or help you understand, here's the rest of the list that you would see if you looked into an average addict's mind. Wish number one, they would say, is we wish, since mind readers only exist in the movies, a little help and insight go a long way, especially while we all have unique thoughts, there is a universal list of wishes and dreams are unique and stern. We wish there's a little voice inside every addict's head that says things like, just one more pill, and all the nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, joint pain will stop. One drink will stop sweating and body tremors. Sometimes it's just too hard to block that voice out and power sickness, I should say. Wish number two. Functioning addicts get up, go to work, get decent grades, take care of kids, and all while feed rapidly growing addictions. We're so embarrassed to be in the shape that we work doubly hard to hide it from you. We act like everything is fine. In truth, our lives are quietly falling apart. Disappointing you is devastating. That is one of our little concerns. We want it to be sons and daughters you could be proud of. We know we're falling and failing your respect. Day after day, the pain and hurt in your eyes cuts us like a knife. Self-medicating is the only way we think we can avoid dealing with that pain. As addicts, we convince ourselves that no one knows how sick we really are. We tell ourselves that you haven't noticed the flood of overdue bills that come in the mail, the overdrawn bank accounts, or the jewelry that we've pawned to satisfy our addiction. In truth, we know we're not doing you any favors by hiding our disease. We're just not strong enough to welcome the life-saving help that is available. We've learned to manipulate the people we love, and it's all in the name of feeding our habit. We know how to tug at your heartstrings and convince you to give in. What we really need, however, is for you to say no. One day, we'll thank you for that. Do you or a loved one need alcohol or drug rehab? Call 888-450-0188. There are caring advisors standing by to help you 24/7. Addiction is not just a physical thing. Much of the disease hinges on mental and emotional issues. We're constantly experiencing waves of sadness and depression that make sobriety seem like an impossible feat. No matter what our intentions are, as long as we are active in addiction, we inflict pain on the very people who we love and that love us most. The hurt we cause makes us hate ourselves. Every time we look in the mirror, we're disgusted. And so, we're very sorry. One of our largest enemies is fear. It keeps us stagnant in our disease and it convinces us that we don't deserve a better life. Fear whispers in our ears, assuring us that recovery is an option. It wants nothing more than to convince us it's no longer worth trying. Addiction has a funny way of distorting our thoughts and, worse, robbing us of all our happy memories. This disease creeps into the fabric of a person's identity and alters our brain chemistry. With a brain that no longer produces its own endorphins, happiness eventually turns into a myth. Need help understanding your addiction? Please call 888-416-4129. There are caring people standing by. Despite fighting you every step of the way, kicking and screaming, each and every one of us wants to be called out on our behaviors. All that chaos we create can be overwhelming to people. That's just a ridiculous defense mechanism. I tell you right now, if you can find the strength to look past the initial outbursts and firmly remind us that we are loved, we are worth saving, and you're damned before you let us go another day without seeking help. There's nothing better that you can wish for. Listen to these wishes, folks. There's a little voice inside every addict's head that says things like, one more pill, and all that nausea. Vomiting, diarrhea, and joint pain will stop. One more drink, and those tremors and sweating will come to an end. Functioning addicts get up. We go to work, get decent grades, take care of kids, and all the while feed rapidly growing addictions. We're so embarrassed to be in the shape that we work doubly hard to hide it from you. Disappointing you is a devastating thing to all us addicted people. We want it to be sons. We want it to be daughters. We want you to be proud of us. We know we're failing in that respect. Day after day, the pain and hurt in your eyes cuts us like a knife. Self-medicating is the only way we can avoid dealing with the pain. As addicts, we convince ourselves no one knows how sick we really are. We tell ourselves that you haven't noticed the flood of overdue bills coming in, the overdrawn bank accounts, and the jewelry that's missing. In truth, we know we're not doing you any favors by hiding our disease. We're just not strong enough to welcome the life-saving help we need. We've learned to manipulate the people we love, and it's all in the name of feeding this terrible disease. We know how to tug at your heartstrings and convince you to give in. What we really need, however, is for you to reach out your hand and help us. Addiction is not a physical thing. Much of this disease hinges on mental and emotional issues. We constantly experiencing waves of sadness and depression that make sobriety seems like an impossible feat. No matter what our intentions, as long as we are active in our addiction, we inflict pain on the very people who love us most. People like you. The hurt we cause makes us hate ourselves. Every time we look in the mirror, we're disgusted, and so we are very sorry. One of our largest enemies is fear. It keeps us stagnant in our disease and convinces us that we don't deserve a better life. Fear whispers in our ears, assuring us that recovery is an option that has long since sailed away. It wants nothing more than to convince us that it is no longer worth trying. Addiction has a funny way of distorting our thoughts and, worse, robbing us of our memories. This disease creeps into the fabric of a person's identity and alters all our brain chemistry. Where the brain no longer produces its endorphins, happiness eventually turns into a myth. Despite fighting you every step of the way, kicking and screaming, each and every one of us wants to be called out on our behaviors. We want to be known. We want you to figure out we have a problem. All that chaos causes just major issues. That's just a ridiculous defense mechanism, is what you need to tell yourself. If you can find the strength to look past the initial outburst and firmly remind us that we are loved, that we can get help, and you are going to help us, we are worth saving, and you'll be damned before you let us go another day without seeking help, that you make us seek help. There's nothing better that we, all addicts, can wish for. If you need help understanding your addiction treatment, call 888-416-4129. There are people standing by. You could call me, 844-405-HELP. You can call Larry Geis from the Geis Academy, 516-458-2741. There is an addiction screaming inside you, screaming for help, for someone to just pull you out. Folks, if you, and I'm speaking directly to you folks that have addictions, if you can look past the initial outburst by whoever, your family, your loved one, knowing that the end, the light in the tunnel is bright and shiny, it does get better. We all had to go through it. I had to go through it. The first 2 weeks, forget my physical aspects of trying to live a sober life. It's to recover from certain family members that were so disgusted with me. But as time goes on and you prove yourself and you prove that addiction can be beat, things will come together. Relationships come together. Financials come together. Spiritually comes together. Love, respect come together. Let today be the first day of your new life. Get past the initial outburst by whoever, but let someone know you need help. I'm here. Grab my hands and I'll pull you in. 844-405-HELP. I hope you have the best day of your life. I hope and I pray that you all have a sober rest to your life. And I hope that each and every one who is suffering from this terrible disease of addiction finally reaches out to someone. Reaches out and says, I need help. Because help is waiting for you. Because if you don't, you'll end up like the person in this coffin. Remember I read this in the beginning? Person laying in a coffin, breathing still, but no way of getting out. Then it's too late, folks. If you want to be selfish and take your own life, that's one thing. But why take your precious life that was given by the Lord Jesus Christ? Why take that from your friends and family? Your husband, your wife, your children, they all need you. Get the help you need now before it's too late. 844-405-HELP. And may God bless you and everyone around you. Take care.